All right, doing a cityscape at night. These are always fun to do. This is actually from a photo I took in St. Petersburg, Florida. And I did some Photoshop here to just make it a better composition. I'll kind of point out some stuff. I kind of like, darken this a little bit up here because I didn't want to draw so much attention to this bright light up here, but I did want it to come down to my focal point, which I kind of put in here of two people walking with the dog. I'm going to take these guys out. I mean, you can keep them in if you want, but I just really want to keep this the focal point. Also, like I darkened kind of this down here a little bit, just played it down. And one thing we are going to change is we're going to make it like this, like how bright it is here. We're going to bring that all the way across. I've been to this restaurant a few times, and I remember when I first took a photo of it, they have like a screen or like something here, and so it didn't look like this, but I like having all that there. I've painted this big before, if you've seen it on my Instagram, so try and do best we can to get something like that. Got a 9x12 linen panel here. Let's put a wash of ivory black and yellow ochre, wiped with a paper towel. As far as my palette goes today, I got ivory black, ultramarine blue, alizarin crimson, burnt sienna, cadmium red, yellow ochre, cadmium lemon, titanium white, some Gamblin solvent-free gel. Right here's my medium, and some Gamsol paint thinner. So, I got like a simple grid. Let's cut this in half. Just gonna take some black, a little red, draw this in. Just using a flat brush, number 2. And I just wanna like squint my eyes and try and just mass in these big shapes. So, I got this curve that kind of comes right above here, dips down there. Now I'm trying to look at just the big shadow shapes, like this comes here. Then here. Like this right here is this kind of lit up part. Like I'm just squinting my eyes and trying to map things out. I can see here, rest of the curb, this up here. I got that little shape. And then so there. Squinting your eyes is gonna help a whole lot with this. I know a lot of times I'll put a filter on this in Photoshop to help you out, but I didn't want to do that this time. Kind of wanted to give you some practice in doing the squint in your eyes. Like when I squint, you're seeing this. This is shape. This kind of comes here. This isn't really shape. I'm just kind of indicating that crosswalk. Just help me figure things out, but so it's not exactly what we're doing now. We're not just drawing objects. I'm going to move up to here. So I'm going to have, this is like that little wall right here, like that little ledge. But remember, we want this to be open. So instead of just having this little section here open, we want to have all that open. And then you got the Hawker's sign lit up right here. And then if I just drop that down, that's where the reflection should be. Just trying to just bring that straight down. Right there. And this, like this light shape, this is important. This is a good lead in. Also kind of tell me, I think I made this, I think I brought that too low, because I want this here. So ignore that. And we're just gonna put it here, and also probably need to make it a little smaller. It's just gonna be kind of like right there. And that. I think that's about it. I mean, this might be a little shape there. We'll figure this out. This kind of there. Some simple shapes. Now, I want to kind of mask things out in the light and dark very simply. Just going to get some ivory black here, maybe a touch of the red. Keeping this really thin. And now I want to, you know, those shapes that I just masked out, I want to solidify those. Just see what I'm working with in terms of just light and dark. See if I like my composition, which kind of already know that I'd like because I've figured this painting out, but it's good just to see it. Again, we're not painting objects right now. You can almost think of this like a, if you've seen any of my other tutorials, I'll use like this wash as a underpainting or a value map. Just to kind of get a sense of what's going on. What are my shapes looking like? Make sure none of my shapes are looking the same. See, I think I want to end this right here because I don't want these two parallel lines just shooting off the canvas, so I'm just going to kind of bring that to shadow there. Now, another thing I don't quite want is I don't want this to line up with that, so I'm just going to bring it in a little bit more. See, I could do that, or I could do the opposite. I could bring that in a little more, which I think I want to do, and then I'll bring that out a little further. And again, this is just first layer, it's thin, it's just to kind of give us a road map of what we're going to be doing here. So I think I'm liking that. And this back there. Not too bad. I think this shape's gonna be more like that. Not too bad, huh? Not too bad. Okay, so let's get a little more solidified with this massing out. Got a number 8 brush. Not gonna make the paint as thin. Some ivory black. See, I'm just kind of solidifying what I figured out. Always like starting with the darkest dark. Just can build lights on top of this pretty easily. Thing with nocturne scenes like this is values are always so close together in the shadows. Like you can see a lot of different values in, you know, places that aren't, you know, lit up, but they're so subtle that that's going to make it easy to like kind of build up with paint or just paint over top of. Like I know like down here is a lot lighter. I'll lighten that later. And there's a lot of color alterations, like shifting of colors. I'll get into that later as well. Now I'm just keeping things simple. So first thing, let's just put in the sidewalks. I feel like it's like the least amount of like transitional change. So I'm just gonna get some white, mix it into this, get a little yellow ochre. See, it's changing value, but it's not a gigantic change. And I do want to start with a little red in there, kind of the darkest light that I can, and I'll put lighter values on top of this. Make sure I get enough paint mixed up here. I'm going to let this kind of blend in to my wet dark paint, and also like kind of letting it break off so it's not perfect. It's going to help create that illusion of like puddles. Now I am going to shift the color with yellow ochre to like a little more almost greenish here. Maybe throw a touch of the Cadmium, just shifting it. I think it'd be interesting to kind of push this part of cement a little greener, because over here it gets pushed redder. Kind of there, and now let's kind of fade that to red. Gonna branch off some black and red. I don't want it to be super vibrant here. It's not like we're painting the sign. Just let that blend right in. Kind of gets darker down here. Actually gets pretty saturated. Right here. Just gonna go ahead and just kind of block that out a little bit. See, I really want to pull this into the black as much as I can. Really want to try and not leave spots like this open, empty canvas spots. Since I have this red, might as well do the same up here. And I really want to kind of, this glowing effect, like this is where it's going to be good to really work that wet into wet paint. You know, this is just the beginnings of painting this sign, so this is where I'm kind of creating soft edges, utilizing wet into wet paint, not worrying about being tight. You can always see like that already kind of has a glow effect. Once we go back in there later and put you know, a lot more on top of that, it's gonna be pretty cool. So the same thing here. Just kind of break this up a bit. Red. Throwing just a little black in there to kind of cool that red down, but I still want it to be pretty bright. It gets brighter because it's going over the white paint of this line on the street. See, this one here is like a lot more saturated right there. Big thing with these lights is saturation. I think once you kind of put it very saturated right there, it's kind of how you get that glowing effect. We'll probably most likely come back to this, develop it a lot. Just kind of creating that effect of water. Now we could just stick on the street and develop it more, which is what I'm thinking about doing. Yeah, might as well. Let's a smaller brush. Let's kind of see what we can do here. Just thinking about values. I'm gonna start playing, trying to crack the code of these lines. I feel like I see them as a little green, like yellow ochre and ivory black together. Maybe throw a touch of the Cadmium. And it's all about value. In like certain areas, they're lighter. Certain areas, it's darker. Like here, it's pretty dark, and it kind of trying to get the angle right here. Kind of starts here. I'm just kind of drawing it out so I can see. And this angle is right there. So I want it to like kind of come in and out of the light differently, depending on where it is. Like here, it's pretty dark. You know, working it into this wet paint is going to help sell this a lot. Those soft edges. Kind of gets lighter here. I think it has like a little redder here. A little burnt sienna in there. I think it's like a little muddier. And it's kind of like, browner, muddier here. And again, so much of this is working that wet into wet paint to get that effect. I think it's a little lighter here. Working that in. I'm kind of getting black and white to come almost like a cooler up here. You can see not as much like yellowish brown, kind of get a little more of the white of the paint on that stripe. See that happen again here. Get some red and white, because once the light kind of hits this white strip, it lights it up a little bit there. So push this. Push the saturation here. Take some red and just kind of indicate a little bit of street kind of coming through. Now we can kind of go through and adjust where we see fit. Like I think this part could probably lighten. I feel like I can use that a little bit. You want to keep this part of the cement pretty cool. Some black, maybe touch a little bit of ultramarine blue in it. All right, let's hop back to these. We're getting somewhere with this. Always just kind of like inching it forward in areas, like lighter and lighter, and seeing kind of like what I can get away with. Get some black, a little bit of the yellow, touch of red. I can kind of reflect some of these palm tree that's going to be up there. It's seeing like a little greener. And then kind of getting a little lighter. Still just the yellow and the black and some white. Don't want to go too bright, but I just want to use some kind of sideways brushwork to indicate that a bit. Got a little bit of blue in there. Push it a little more green. And I'm just indicating. Some white for the light. Don't want to do too much. I'm gonna have to see like how much I can do there. Probably could lighten this area a bit. Coming back with the dark. Kind of, making it like have like imperfections and kind of break it up. Get my curve back into there. So I'm always like stepping back, and I'm always assessing my painting and asking like questions, you know, about saturation of something, the value of something. Like I notice, oh, I can push this to be a lot more saturated. This. Something we can do right now be helpful. So I'm going to get some yellow. Some red. I just want to indicate and go put some white into this. It's going to kind of give us a gauge for everything, you know, whether we keep this like this or not, like kind of unreadable. We'll see, but it's just having that there is going to help us key a lot of stuff in. And the thing you'll see me do as the painting goes on is, like, you know, I started out, you saw like how loose I started everything out, and, you know, a lot of lost edges in here, and you know, soft edges. Is like as I go, I'll start finding places to tighten things up. Be like, oh, you know what, that edge should be more crisp. I need to kind of define that a little more, and it's going to be that contrast of areas of soft edges and areas of hard edges. Like having that difference is going to really help things, and it's another tool that you can use and control, you know, what edges are hard and crisp. Because, you know, if you want to define like this water, it's going to play a lot more as water, not just because of the loose edges, but also that in comparison to other areas, and like maybe this building sidewalk that have these very hard, crisp edges. So now even like this shadow, I can lighten that up a bit, and then it gets lighter. Getting down here. seeing some red, kind of glowing light coming out. From there, I should probably start working in there some. Just keep seeing like things I want to kind of keep doing in here. You can get some white, touch of yellow ochre, just having kind of stuff like that. Some more yellow ochre, some red. Kind of come right there. It's these little specks of reflection. Help sell that effect of water, but we'll come back to this if I can ever step away from it. Yeah, let's fill this in. So I'm going to start with some like burnt sienna and yellow ochre. I'm not going to, the brightest value that I see there, but because up top, here I see it's like a little darker. Ivory black in there, kind of got this dark brownish color. A little more black. So then you have a whole bunch of people kind of like sitting here. Gonna go a little lighter, a little more red. Keeping things loose right now. Now, I'm gonna get some red and black because I want some red because I'm coming in here and like crispening up the edges of this window. I want some red in it to help sell the glow of the sign up here. Get that established. This little brick wall's a little grayer. All right. So now let's have some fun. Some yellow ochre and some white. Cad lemon, a little red. Kind of trying to create a pretty vibrant orange almost. Let's start with kind of these lamps hanging up here. Start them like that. And then inside those, it's pretty bright, so I'm gonna get some white. Just branch off from this, some more white. Then go in this top center of these. Get a little bit of that yellow in there. Put these in. And there's also kind of like a cooler light, some white and black, a touch of blue. It's like kind of down in here. Maybe a little brighter. Doesn't have to be super perfect or anything. If you want, you get your rigger brush to this really bright value, and you know, kind of with these string lights. Top there. I'm just going to kind of come down and put some lighter coloring. A little white, lighten up this cool color. Kind of put some lighter values of that in here. Now you can come in with some black and red if you want to kind of get a little more specific with people. Get their little heads in there. As you can see, it's like you don't have to be super detailed with this. You just kind of want to get the right value. Get kind of the sidewalk a little lighter, helps sell that light's coming from inside there, kind of like that. Side of the wall there. I can come back. Define this more, kind of the structure. Get some red, a little bit of white, and indicate this palm tree here, which I actually put in Photoshop. There was palm trees around there, but they weren't in the place I wanted them, so I'm just going to indicate some light splashing up kind of the bottom of this palm tree coming from the sign. Just a little like that. On the right side, it's a little cooler of a light. Get some of that green. A little cool. Don't want this too bright, but that. There's kind of like another tree here. Actually, it's right there. Not bad. I got this dark enough before I go in and put in these car lights and what have you. So yeah, keep coming back to here, wanting to lighten this up a little more, a little more. So then we'll get some black and yellow again. Kind of start indicating this palm tree up here. Kind of letting it lost into the dark there. Even come down and put some of that green we just used in here. It's going to progressively get a little lighter. So add some white. Kind of as it gets closer to this light source up here. So I can get some white. Put that light right there, and then kind of soften this bottom. Kind of let it bleed into the tree there a bit. Got that there. Yeah, it kind of has that glowing effect now. I'm gonna get a pretty small brush. Where's my rigger brush? And then indicate these other street lights kind of going back there. Might as well, let's got my rigger brush. Let's get some straight red. Kind of put some tail lights. Also get some of these other lights that are going to be behind our people here, kind of silhouetting them a bit. Again, always thinking about edges, crisping up that edge, making that solid. Get some yellow ochre and red and kind of some black. Okay, this palm tree. I'm just going to indicate the palm tree, not the pole for the light. I'm just going to imagine that kind of comes up and outside the frame here. That. Okay, a little bit of grass there. A little lighter towards the top of this trunk. Kind of cutting back into my palm here. Soften that right edge. Get some black and top of the lamp. Get some this reddish orange. Continue this down here. So should we put this Ochre sign in? I think I need a little more red. A little trick I do is I'll use a pencil. So where do I want this? Kind of want start there, kind of end there. So let's try and kind of sketch it, write it in with the pencil. I think I did it too big. It needs to. I think I'll be able to get it in there. Think so. I kind of sketched it out enough and I feel comfortable putting it in. First I'm just going to use some white and red just to like kind of finalize it and make sure it's where I want. So it's H A okay. I'm totally not going by what I penciled in, but I don't know, I feel like I'm on a roll here. I think mine's gonna be a little bigger than what the real sign is, but oh well. All right. Ugh, I'm not a fan of doing like lettering stuff. So I'm actually gonna step away from that, give myself a break from that. I feel like for me, if I just stay on that one thing doing that for a while, it's gonna get frustrated. So I'm just gonna go develop some other areas, have a little more fun. And everything's pretty much, you know, set now, like there, and kind of just going through and seeing what I want to alter, like what I want to enhance, what's working, what's not working. And I could some yellow and some white. Get a little bit of that going. Some of the red. I can get some red. Come around this lettering. Use soft edges with this light. All right, feel a little rejuvenated. Let's go back into this lettering. Get some white, a little bit of yellow, red. Pinkish orange. Kind of let it blend in a little bit to the red around it. I'm going to come back over this, like inside this lettering with like a very bright value. Alright, time to go with the final value inside the sign. All right, looks pretty nice. Got my little rigger brush, gonna clean that up a bit. Now, some white. Touch of black. Gonna kind of outline our people here. Actually need to paint out that. Like the top of the head, and got a little hat, and then light on the shoulders. Use some red on the left side. And some light. With some black. And their cast shadow there. Now I can kind of come in from behind them and a little more silhouetted. Also want to lighten this part where they're standing. Because they're kind of under this spotlight. lot of dogs in St. Pete when you walk up and down the streets. I got little doggy. You don't have to put this in. All right, at this point it's touch-ups, any little details you want to add, anything you want to fix, like I'm kind of fixing my fingerprints here. Strengthen these a bit. I'm kind of coming back down here and making any adjustments. Like everything's reading how I want it to. See how I'm really downplayed this reflection here. Just don't want to draw a ton of attention to it. Right, this is a good fun painting to do. Good lesson in edges. You know, what we talked about is being loose and having these edges get lost in certain areas, create this effect of water. You can carry that. The areas where the street comes through. You know, saturation of color. Help getting that glowing effect. It's really fun. It's cool how down here is more yellow than up there. It's because just the water darkens the light. Make sure I don't want the trunk of these palm trees to be on the same plane. I'm going to bring this one down a little bit there. All right. I think that's it for that one. Hope you enjoyed. Have fun painting.